Namaste, this is Twin Flames Undercover, and I'm back again with episode 4. But I guess I'm a little bit off the beaten track now again, so just bear with me. What am I doing? I guess in the last couple of years I've kind of repressed a lot of my feelings for my twin, and just because I didn't know how to deal with it and I didn't know who to talk to about it. And I kind of shut down and froze, and probably upset a lot of people, but it was like the cycle was happening over and over again. I thought, I'm going to lose it. if things don't start working for me, I'm really going to start malfunctioning, because I just felt that everything monetary would go to her, and it was like a slippery eel to try and get me working and get me stable and get money into the house, because just the energy was always connected to him. So anyway, I guess I got kind of literal and territorial, and I got more interested in law and kind of very literal things, and I guess I made my body literal, and I stopped doing a lot of spiritual stuff, and so I got really literal, and in many ways I kind of ostracized myself from groups of people that were mutual to him, so I guess I thought I was protecting myself, but in other ways I wasn't really, and then it kind of had to the whole tower that I was building around myself had to come crumbling down again, as I knew it would, but I just needed to figure out a way where I could have safe boundaries with people, So for me that meant kind of going back to 0 point. And so, but what I wanted to talk about today was actually about food. I had this incredible connection with my twin, and sometimes if we were eating together, in a group of people, we would have this incredible telepathy going on. Well, we would just spontaneously laugh at one another, and we'd know why, but no one else on the table would know why, And so that was really incredible, and I miss that, but and in a way I'm actually protective over that experience. I don't want to share that experience with anyone else. And even with recent partners and stuff, it's just such an intimate experience for me. I don't want to share with anyone. I don't want to eat food with anyone. And actually I would have had a lot of issues around eating food with my family as well, because they would always put an agenda on food, and it was always weighted, heavy agenda on food, and offering you food and then bombshelling you with some bad news two-thirds of the way through your dinner, and just narcissistically gaining from the vulnerable situation you put yourself in when you eat food with someone, So that's my cat. And then so over the years that it took me a while to figure out that was a bit of an issue for me. And things like when I was really young, my dad would force me into the car and I would get car sick, and then we would go to dinner and he would force feed me because he would get angry if I didn't eat all the food, So I would have had a lot of issues around bulimia and stuff, and overeating, and I did get a good control over it. It didn't kind of go to extremes, thank God, but I would have a lot of sensitivity still around food and eating with people, and just making sure that you're eating with people that aren't offending you in any way, or because actually the whole point of eating food is to break bread with people. It's actually an incredibly intimate thing, and it comes from when you're a baby and when you're being fed by your mother, so and there's that incredible phrase where it's when love stops being served, you get up from the table, and I totally resonate with that, because what would happen to me is love would stop being served and I would stay sitting at the table and I would basically eat everyone's hatred, you know. And then I would be purging through using food to purge other people's hatred, you know. So it was like, you know, it was a form of abuse for most of my life, you know. And so, like, I don't go home for Christmas dinners. Things like I don't go home for Christmas dinners. The only people I kind of eat food with are people I kind of really trust, and or spiritual people, like, you know, and I prefer it in a group so that there's witnesses, you know, like, you know, I just find, yeah, I just, you know, really fussy over who I eat, you know. It's not even what I eat, it's who I'm eating with, you know. And so the issue was, and I'd also dealt with a friend who had anorexia, and it was really bizarre because it was almost like she had like celebrity status because she was anorexic, but I had like bulimia, and no, I didn't get half as much of the celebrity status as she got. Do you know what I mean? So kind of witnessing those dynamics as well were very strange for me. Like, to know, I mean, it was like the more weight she lost, the more popular she became. It was really weird, and I just found the whole thing really disturbing because I just found that she was just a pathological liar. She just lied about everything, you know. And so anyway, that was someone I kind of parted ways with many years ago. But in my own kind of journey of finding out my own issues around food, I kind of thought back to her as well, you know, and wondered were there some similarities, like, and but anyway, I went to the Zen lunch one day, and I highly recommend anyone with an eating disorder to go and experience a Zen lunch, even if you're not spiritual, or, you know, I just think it is just a really good medicine for someone with eating disorders to really get out of their comfort zone and experience a Zen lunch. So anyway, I thought I'd share this with you because well, this experience was really deep for me, and it was actually quite traumatic. Because a lot of my food experiences came up, and there was some karma with the group as well. And so it is the kind of basis for why I feel I've really screwed up around kind of intimate relationships, right? So what happened was I went to the Zen lunch anyway, and I hadn't been to one before, and I'd been to kind of similar things where I'd eaten out with people, but it was never like officially a formal Zen lunch. Like, I'd eaten with people who were really spiritual and very respectful over what you were eating, you know, or the company you keep as you eat. And then what happened then? So we started the Zen lunch anyway, and that was cool. And I'm actually very fond of the Zen priest who facilitated it, and I really haven't met anyone like him since. And I'm not sure now if you'd want me to say his name or whatever, but if you are interested, you can just send me a private message and I'll let you know. But anyway, he was incredible, really incredible. Like, and I was so grateful that he was as sensitive as me, because often I join spiritual groups and the guru isn't as sensitive as me. And so I would be pointing out issues about things, and the guru would be like, oh, you're out of your mind, like there's something wrong with you, you know? So, or else they'd be intimidated by the fact that I knew something more than them, you know? But I just felt he was so incredibly open and so incredibly sensitive that I didn't feel like I had to hold back information. Do you know what I mean? So it was, you know, so as difficult as it was, he was actually the perfect person to facilitate it, you know, because he was so incredibly, like, thoughtful and conscientious about what I had experienced, you know. And so anyway, the start of the start for the very beginning, the food came in and it was all vegetarian food and beautiful, and it was all done in silence. We had to sit and say that as they were serving the food, like. And one thing that hit me straight away that I just wanted to laugh at was because it was just the sound and the noises of the food. It was so sensual to me. I was really sensitive that there, because it was really sensual noises like of the food and the sculpting of food and all this, and I was like, and that really affected me in a kind of like just in a real sensual way, and I was kind of embarrassed about it. And so I was kind of like chuckling to myself about it. And then that was fine, and they served the food or whatever, and they presented the food to the master first, which is how it works. And they did kind of screw up some of the. There was like a little bit of a screw up, I think, in the protocol where someone got food before the master, and that's always a bit dodgy. And then but I think we got over that, and then what happened then? So the master was served, and then it went down to other people, and we all went up. Or they made like a buffet. So this time, so we could kind of dip in ourselves, So that was fine, and we all had a little bit of everything, and we kind of sat down and started eating, and that was fine, and. And you see, it's done in silence, so there's no music going on in the background. There's no talking. There's no, there's no kind of unnecessary gestures, or there's a very minimal interaction, only what's necessary, And then, so that was interesting, and we all started to eat the food anyway, and then, I had some familiarity with it, so I was careful, like really careful about clanging spoons, and just being I was just conscientious, like, because I knew that there was stuff was going to happen. I knew something strange was going to happen. So anyway, I was kind of eating away, and I was really happy eating my food. It was like lentils and rice and all kinds of other little things in it. And I was happy up eating my food away, and we got about halfway through, right? And that seems to be like a symbol with me, like halfway through things go wrong. Halfway through my black belt I almost got killed. Halfway through exams, I want to bail. Halfway through a course, I want to quit. And it's like halfway through my life, it's just, so there's something about the halfway mark with me is almost like the fatal edge kind of thing, So, and I'm actually really conscious of it, so I do my best to kind of get through it, you know what I mean? Because, a lot of people saying to me, oh, you never finish things, you always start them, you never finish them, and I just, but I mean, there's another breadth of people that say, well, if you feel that way, then you're justified in not wanting to participate, you know what I mean? So, it's, so it's just a bit of a double-edged sword, I think, but I do my best to try and complete things now, because I know, like, it has its advantages, So, anyway, with that kind of mindset, I kept eating, and I was a bit kind of engrossed in the food I was eating, but I was still aware of the other group. But then the master stopped eating, right? And I was conscious of the master stopping to eat. And the next thing, the rest of the group started to clang. It was like they were starved children and they hadn't been fed in like 50 million years. And the spoons and the forks was like clang, 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 clang against the bowl. And they started to eat really, really fast and aggressively. Like, it was almost like they were murdering the food. And I wasn't aware of it as fully yet. I'd say I was eating for another 10 or 15 minutes before I recognized what was going on. But I did notice that the master had stopped, right? And then next thing, I just got bad feeling emotionally. I felt really bad. I started to feel really bad. I just started to feel like I was in the wrong place. I just felt like it was suddenly the kind of nice part of it was kind of getting really difficult, and the noise of the spoons I was trying to notice, and it felt so aggressive, and it was almost like it triggered my worst sensitivities, you know what I mean? And I was like, and then I started to realize what was going on, and I put the bowl down, and I waited for them to finish because I just found it extremely abusive. It was like being in a war zone, or being in an abattoir, or being in like some place where they kill things. Um, that was the feeling I got. And I felt that the more I ate the food, the more I was eating their pain, right? And I stopped eating because I was a little bit, what the fuck is going on? Because it was still subconscious for me. I was still like I was still like wondering what was going on and thinking it was myself. I still hadn't kind of equated it to the group. Even I thought it was just my fault. Do you know what I mean? And I thought I was just being overly sensitive, the usual story. And I was like, this. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right at all. I was like, I just wanted to get out of the place. And anyway, so they stopped eating and they put the balls back, and then he bowed us all out and he didn't say anything. And I don't know, he did say something like, you've got some karma around food, he said, but we're going to go for coffee now, and then we'll come back afterwards and do another meditation. And then he finished the finished the session, and I was still kind of trying to analyze it, going, what the fuck just happened? And I told him about the sensual part that I was experiencing at the start of the session. And then he was like, yeah, he was really interested in my experience because he knew that I had tweaked it to some extent. So he was kind of speaking to me as we were walking out the door, and I was like, there's something going on. That was like, I was like, it was just the start of it was really sensuous, and just I feel really bad about it now. And then I said to him straight out, I said those knives and forks were like a war zone. The clanging of the knives and forks was like a war zone. And I said that to him on the QT, and he didn't mention it to anyone else, and he said, all right. But he knew there was something going on. So anyway, we went for coffee, and I swear to God, I was sitting among all these people, but it was like, I hate all of you. I want all of you dead. It was like I was trying to fake the fact that I hated all of them and I wanted them all dead. You know what I mean? It was like, and actually there was a real air, there was a sense of mistrust among all of us. None of us trusted each other. Do you know? It was kind of like the Last Supper in a way, but it was like the uncut version of the Last Supper, where it was like really morbid and sinister and strange, you know? And then there was a few insults thrown over coffee kind of at each other, but not deliberately, kind of accidentally, you know? And because we were all in such a sensitive state that it was like any kind of ill word against someone else became really highlighted. And anyway, I was glad the coffee didn't last very long, and we went back, and by the time we went back to the thing, I was like, I don't want to be here. I hate all you people. I'm never coming here again. You scare the shit out of me. This was what I was feeling, right? And for the first, normally the meditation sessions go on for about a half an hour, but I think this went on for longer. And the first 10 or 15 minutes, it was just such hard work. Like meditating in the room with those people was such hard work. It was like labor, like it was so difficult. And it was so difficult. I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I'm not, I was kind of waiting for the breakthrough and it wasn't coming. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, why am I even here? I don't know. And then, and he had said that he have a bit of karma around food. And then, but it like, anyway, like, I'll tell you at the end what I think now. But like, anyway, I got through after about 15 minutes. We started to kind of get a breakthrough, right? And the energy started to break. And I knew then I was getting a sense of sovereignty that I was going to be healed, But it was like hard work for the rest of them, I'd say. Just as a group as a whole, it was such hard work, like to stay focused. And we both knew, and I guess everyone knew that there was something going down, And so anyway, we started to have a breakthrough in the energy, and energy started to flow. But I had the experience of bits of my body coming back to me. It was like, when I think about it now, and it's over a year ago since it happened, so I'm just relaying it, but when I think about it now, it was like they were eating me. It was like they were cannibals and they ate me in a past life. And like, um, it was, that's when I think back at the meditation that I did at the second part, it was like bits of my flesh were coming back into my body, it was like bits of my flesh were in different parts of the cosmos. And through the meditation we did, I was retrieving them, but and I left that group, and I actually didn't go back and meditate with them until about a year and a half later. And I did another Zen lunch with them recently, and it was fine. There was no weird shit, but it wasn't with the same teacher, so I would like to go back and see what had happened with the same teacher now, and do a Zen lunch with the same teacher. But I think he knows I was a bit sensitive about it because I didn't go back for over a year, And I have such an incredible fondness for him, actually, because he was clearly capable of facilitating something really deep, really deep. I just see cannibalism as like the beginning of time. That's how old I would kind of perceive that as, But I look at it now and I just think that's what it is. It's actually cannibalism, And then I think about how, people invalidate you, and that's kind of like a slow homicide, if you have enough people invalidating you all the time, and a lot of people do that to me in my life. They completely invalidate my experience, and and I just see that, that's why people go downhill, because they get invalidated by so many people, and they don't see their own truth and their own mission and their own love, you know what I mean? So, the literal version of that is cannibalism, and and then if you think about what's going on in the world with all these pedophile rings and stuff, it's the same thing. It's just kind of a lesser version. It's like when you discredit someone, it's like a lesser version of cannibalism. You know what I mean? It's like you're insulting them instead of eating parts of them. Do you know what I mean? But it's still like degrading and dysfunctional and quite sinister. But the whole experience was incredible because I had been delving about my food issues and around my eating issues and intimacy issues and stuff, and I'd been delving, and I was like, what's this and how come I haven't figured it out yet? And next thing I did the Zen lunch, and I was like blown. I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, what the hell just happened? And I would say to anyone with an eating disorder to do a Zen lunch if you get an opportunity, because because people, you do come together with people who've wounded you in past lives, I believe, and it's almost like when it comes to a crucial point in your life where you know you have to address this, you'll call out for them subconsciously or consciously. You'll call out to them. You'll be like, I need these people to return because I need this part of me healed, you know? And then you'll be drawn to a place like I was drawn to the Zen lunch, you know? And so, you know, I guess like you know, because I kind of spent the last couple of years kind of rejecting my intuition, you know, because it kept leading me back to my twin, and I kept going, oh, I'm never going to be with him. So it's like I kind of started to reject my intuition a bit, you know. But it's kind of something like that really kind of reassures you again, because I mean, if I was to tell that to a conventional person that has never experienced spiritual things in the way that I have, they would just say I was crazy. But in spiritual circles, it's the most normal thing on normal planet. And, you know, people experience strange things like that all the time, you know. But I do think, like, in general, we really need to look at the way we look at food, you know. And and I had such an incredibly intimate connection with my twin over food. It was amazing. I was so comfortable eating food with him. You know, I was so comfortable eating food with him. To know, like, it was just incredible. And actually, when I got to eat food with him, the intimacy was so incredible. Like, and it was so cute. It was so cute because we could like have a full blown conversation but not say anything, and then like have the whole table kind of looking at us stupid, going, "What are those two up to?" You know. So that kind of makes me sad when I think about that, because I'm so comfortable eating food with him, you know. And I've spent the last couple of years kind of eating out on my own, and I really don't want to eat with my family because it upsets me. And like, so I really needed that experience with the Zen lunch. It was just incredible, and I really wanted to document it because it kind of moved me so much, you know. I just think it was amazing, you know. And I try not to and it was amazing that this time there was no issues came up, so I don't have any excuse to be resenting them anymore. But once upon a time, many moons ago, they may not have been my best friends, you know. So and it's just funny, you know. And then I think of my kung fu master as well. When I first started to do kung fu, like, he was really protective over me when I was eating, and if there was other people there, he would he would misdirect them if they were kind of getting focused in on my food or whatever I was eating. He would totally misdirect them, so they would focus their attention on someone else or something else, or change the topic or something, because they would get magnetized and drawn in by me eating, you know. So like and a lot of the arguments at home was around money and around food. And like, you know, I mean, my dad would get jealous of the turkey, you know, or he'd get jealous of me if mom offered me a bit of the turkey, he'd be jealous over the turkey, you know. And just like really strange things like that, you know. And actually, I remember when I was a kid too, like not wanting to eat meat when I was really young, like when I was around 12, and then I was like force fed burgers and stuff. So I guess like I would have a bit of a trauma around eating meat too, and I was thinking of going vegan, but I think I still haven't kind of purged that trauma yet, because you know, sometimes if I feel panicked like or stressed, I go straight for meat, like, you know. So you know, and I think, you know, and I listen to vegans talking about eating meat as being cannibalism, and I do kind of understand their thinking on it, you know, because of the experiences that I've had. Like, you know, I do think it's relevant, like, and then so yeah. So I thought I'd share that with you because it's actually kind of a central theme of some of the issues that I've had on the journey, and I don't know. I would like things to be kind of easy and flowy and not a big deal. But like, yeah, people are strange about things, you know. Anyway, so I thought I'd share that with you, my Zen lunch experience. And I highly recommend anyone do it, you know. What else? I guess that's all I have to share now. So I'm just gonna say good night and namaste, and thanks for listening. And I hope your journey is going well and it's not too arduous. And if you'd like to send me an email or send a message to me, you're welcome to do so. So namaste.